Hello traders, this is Day Trader Matt with businesswithtrading.com doing an E-mini trading room recap for the 9th of October, Thursday, and today was another great day in the markets. You can see that we missed a few trades. We only had one trade here, and the market just took off. And it was one of those days where we aren't able to get a lot of action. But the one trade that we did make, we were able to make some money on it. That's really what matters, is we were able to make money. It sucks sometimes to miss trades, but it's better to miss a trade than to lose money on a trade, in my opinion. A lot of new traders look at it the opposite way around. They would rather lose money on a trade than to miss a trade. And saying that, it's unconscious feeling. It's ingrained in your psyche. So if you ask somebody, they're not going to say that. But over 60% of what you say is in your body language anyway. So most of what you do comes from your subconscious mind, which you're not aware of. Most people are not aware of what is inside of their subconscious mind. And that's why I find trading such an intriguing business. It's so fun because of that. A lot of what you do actually affects you as a person. And that's why I always say, you become a better trader, you become a better person. Because when you're changing those habits that are deeply seated in your psyche, you have to become a better person. Because you're changing some of those negative habits into positive habits. And in doing so, you not only become a better trader, but you become a better person as well. So I always found that quite interesting as far as trading. But anyway, let's get into what we actually did on the day. Like I said, we missed a couple trades. I'm not going to go over that. The only trade that we did take was right over here. We were able to get long, and we were able to take profits at the top of this candle here. So we took some quick profits on that, and then kind of watched things from there. Like I said, we missed a couple trades, and it is what it is. Some people are happy with 1.5 points. Some people were not happy because look at where the market went to. 12 o'clock, it was down here at, we'll say the low of this, which was 1933. And the high of the day was 1960.75. So, look at where the market went to. Some people would be upset. Look at where the market went to. I only got into this trade. But whatever the market does, you have to trade how you trade. You can't let anything change that. You trade how you trade, and over time you're going to make money. Sometimes, like today, the market moves a lot, and we only pulled a 1.5 out. You can look at it one of two ways. You can look at it, we made money, great, let's move on to the next day. Or you can look at it and say, wow, look at all the money that we left on the table. That sucks. That's horrible. And then you come in the next day with that negative mindset and just blow up your trading account, or just lose money. Either or is a bad scenario. One's a little worse, but they're both bad. So there are different ways to actually look at trading, and that's one thing that I do with coaching clients, is I go over that. And some of those psychological issues they take longer than others. Because everybody's different. Everybody's coming from a different place in life. That's what makes life awesome, because everybody's different. But anyway, I wanted to talk about that a little bit, shine some light on that, show you what we did today. Hopefully it made some sense to you what I was talking about. You can always leave comments below the video. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here in the markets. Thank you.